I've talked about the different natural ways that you can kind of regrow hair, but in this video I wanted to talk specifically about the actual hair transplant procedure and what to expect from it. So there are two different types of hair transplant. There's an FUT transplant and an FUE transplant. The FUT transplant is slightly different in the way that they harvest the actual hairs. They do what's called strip harvesting, where they actually will remove a strip of the skin with the sort of hair follicles in it from the back of the head. They'll then harvest the hairs from it and implant the grafts. What I had, and what I'll be talking about for the rest of this course, just so there's absolutely no confusion, is an FUE hair transplant, which is where they remove the individual hair follicles one by one from the back of the head. And then after the extraction, they then implant those grafts into the front of the head. For me, the FUT one just wasn't an option. I wouldn't have had that done anyway. FUE hair transplants, the one I had, is less invasive. There's a very high success rate of it. You know, it heals better. Just for me, there was no option, no argument between them really. If you have a look at, like, say, the back of your head, the difference between, because on the FUE they're taking just hair follicles kind of at random just across the head, like just doing it gradually across the whole head. It sort of spreads out the harvest area, whereas with the FUT you're left with like a big strip where they've actually removed all the skin and everything. So that just wasn't an option for me. So just so it's clear, I'll be talking about an FUE hair transplant, and that's exactly what I had. So what can you expect from an FUE hair transplant? Well, basically, because they're sort of individually taking out all the hair follicles from the back of the head, it does take quite a long time. That sort of harvesting process can take anywhere from like an hour and a half up to 3 hours. It does depend how many they're actually doing. For me, it was 3,800, I think they actually harvested. So it took about 3 hours, I think it was, maybe 2.5 hours to do that. And then again, one by one, they're putting them into the top of the head as well. I do talk about the procedure in later videos, so I don't want to go into it in too much detail, but you know, it's not, there's no sort of pain or anything like that. It's because they're just doing things on an individual sort of hair follicle basis. It's very much like micro trauma each time they're handling with the hairs. So it's nothing to worry about. And the thing for me is that, you know, the results they speak for themselves really. You know, you can expect to get extremely good results, especially if you're using Clinicana. You know, obviously I'm testament to that. And then on their website, they've got just like tons of really good success stories for before and afters. So here's the before, here's the after. Very, very big difference, I think. This guy had similar sort of hairline to me before, and then after. Just looks way better. And they've got so many of these. I mean, absolutely just so many of these testimonials and befores and afters. You can have a look on the website, you can have a look on their socials, you can see on social media. I mean, it's just everywhere basically. So yeah, the FUE hair transplant for me, you know, it's the most sort of successful way of doing it. They typically have around like a 90% success rate in terms of the hairs that are actually implanted. So that just gives you an idea. There's a very, very high success rate. You should expect that almost all of the hairs really that are harvested will actually then take and will start to grow as well. And the last thing just to point out with a hair transplant such as this is that it does take quite a bit of time to actually grow out, and you'll be able to follow my story, you know, from start to finish, from literally day one right through to, well, I mean, I'm at 6 months now, but I'll also be adding to this content, this members area, as I progress towards sort of 12 months, maybe even 18 months as well, because you don't get the best results. It does take quite a while to come through, and the best results tend to come through after about 12 months, maybe even longer sometimes. So you can see that even just after a few months, you know, the hair will look good, don't get me wrong, but it will just continue to improve and improve and improve. So that's why I want to keep updating my journey as well, as my hair continues to sort of thicken and it'll grow slightly differently and things like that as well.